what is Maven and how is this useful. So when earlier Java programmers used to create their Java code, probably in EJB or some other framework, or so they have to write their own Java classes, right? So just consider this as a project where they have to add their own Java files, and then these are the dependencies they have to download from internet and put it as part of the package only, right? So sometimes what happens, if I need to connect with MySQL, I have to download it from my internet, and then I have to plug it in my project as a dependency. And I remember I used to use NetBeans that time, and then I have to take other dependencies, for example, parsing. So then I have to have a list handy whenever I'm porting this project from one place to another place. And the reason is, with these jar files, the project becomes too heavy and you want to just transport your code, not these libraries. And also the packaged folder, once you deploy it, that becomes too heavy. So that your deployment time, it takes a lot of time. And as particular demo problem, right, when you have to demonstrate it to someone, you have to take it to server. So when you guys will be giving future demos, so what happens, irrespective of how better you try, you will fail or have surprises, one or the other thing. So that is where this team Maven solved this problem. They said, create your Java project, do not worry about these libraries, right? So what they ask, you just need to create a list of dependencies in place and configure this in pom.xml, right? What this pom.xml says, it has the list. It has the list whether you need Java, jar 1, jar 2, jar 3, and also the benefit of using pom.xml, that you can specify latest and greatest jar there, or if you don't provide the version number of these jar, it becomes really easy to download the latest all the time, right? So what where Maven comes into the picture, Maven is a public repository available over the internet. It is MVN repository. Whenever you are building your Java, it downloads dependency from ambient repository to your local repository. What is your local repository? If you, and I will show you where this is installed, right? So it downloads all your Maven repository from internet to your local repository, and then finally to your project. How Maven repository looks like? So if you go to this mavenrepository.com, this is your repository. This is available on internet with all different jar files. You just need to provide which project or which kind of packaging you want to work. For example, if I say I need to work on a Spring, so Spring context, core, web, beans, MVC, everything is available at single place. So if I click on this and I need to create a Spring project, I can see all different versions available here, starting from the first version. So as you can see, starting from first version, everything is available here. Now if I need to take the latest and greatest, I can click on this link here. It gives me pom.xml dependency, right? So by default, now if I show you, this is your project which we just created, and if I go here, look at the pom.xml. So in my case, I have created some project earlier. So if I open this pom.xml here, this is the way it looks, right? It has your group ID, which is a unique name which differentiates that if your project is public, it should not conflict with anything else. And then you will have the artifact, which is a project name, which finally creates the packaging. Now you have a URL from maven.apache.org, and then you have different properties that you will be using here. And then I have a dependency section which says by default when you create a simple archetype, so you can also open your quick start file and you will see that JUnit is by default available there, and then you will have as many dependencies as you add. These are created in your pom.xml, so you just need to write this org.hibernate with artifact with version number, and it automatically downloads everything for you. So if you go to the Maven dependencies, you will see that you in your project, you also have certain jars available. The benefit of it, that if I just take my project outside of this computer, right? So I can go and show you where this project is currently located. So this is exactly when you look at from the file explorer perspective, and obviously target is something which you don't take when you deploy a project. If you go and click on the properties, this will show you the kind of space it is taking on your system. So you will just see it is 7.84 kilobytes in size. So your source code is that small. This target is obviously it is a build version of it, right? This has classes, and still if you see the size of this thing, this is just 6.7 KB. So that is the powerful part of using Maven, because where your libraries are installed, let me show you that path as well. It stores from internet to your local system. So if you see, this is stored at M2 repository. So if I go to my folder, and within your repository you will see that all these files, right? If I just see how many files are downloaded from internet for different projects. So this is the power, right? You'll see that it is in MBs. So in the earlier version, when you have to plug all these jar files in your project, this was huge. But as you see here, I've created some of the project where I've used these libraries. My original source code is 24 KB or less than 1 MB, right? Whereas I have added a dependency of almost a gigabyte. So that is the power of using Maven, which makes it transportable, which makes it lightweight for distribution. So this is I was talking about. MVN is your internet repository, then local repository. From local repositories goes to your Java project, where in pom.xml you can define any number of dependencies, and it takes care of downloading these dependencies at the runtime. So as you move ahead and work on more Java project, you will see downloading these dependencies takes less time, because what happens, this local repository it itself do not download dependency for each individual project, but it links there. So for example, if you are working on 4 projects that require MySQL as a dependency, it will not download 4 times your MySQL jar, it will download only once. So from optimization of resources perspective, this is also really good.